Hello everyone, this is Richard from Harvesting Graphics here, and I'm going to you another tutorial of how to achieve a simple flyer like this in Photoshop. So to begin with, we select File and New, or you can simply press Ctrl M, and for this we are going to use an A4 sheet, and with pixels it's going to be 2480 by 3508. So we are going to rename it to Wedding Invitation. All right. So, what the resolution for something like social media digital projects that isn't going to be printed, you can take it as low as 72 resolution and it's going to be fine. But we are going to maintain 300 and we begin to create. So once you are admitted with this page, we select file, place embedded, and we find resource files, which resource files, which are going to be added in the link in description for usage as well. So you select this file and here we have it. Once it's imported, you can lock it and we go ahead to import another part of the project as well, which is this particular image. So I take it up here and I begin to add initials of the couple in question. So then their names begin with O and G. So I'm going to type O here and I change the fonts to a beautiful font. That's the name. And I change the color to this alley. Alright, so once you are done, we can move it into the shape we've created already here like this. Alright, so to get the other initial of the second couple, I press Alt and I duplicate it. To make it align, I press Shift and I get it aligned as well. I double click and change the letter to G. Alright, so once I have something like this, I can simply add a bit of stroke to the G to make it stylish. So FX and I add stroke. So with the stroke, I change the color to a white stroke and it takes effects like this. So 10, let's say 10 kind of okay. I click OK and we are good to go. So once we are done with this part of the project, I can also add the date on which the wedding is going to happen. That is on 11th of December 2025. So I add that as well. I press Alt and make this smaller and position it somewhere like this. Right. So once I'm done with this part, I can select this and hold Shift, select the last one and press Ctrl G to group all of this and name it as top fonts or whatever, just to recognize it some later. So to make sure I don't interfere with this, I select it and lock it up here. Once we are done, I begin to add the fonts, type in some text here. Do I type in the families of, right. So I change the font type to an Aventa semi-bold, change the color to black, and yes, we are making some good progress. So to make sure this font is center aligned, I select on the font here, press Ctrl E, and I select this. Yeah, so once you want to align it to the extreme left, you click on this, and it goes to the left center and so on. Yes, so once I'm done with it, I'm going to introduce the names of the couple's family as well. Alright, so I have the names here and I position it somewhere like this. Perfect. So whilst I'm done, I'm going to add some styles to it to make it look nice. So I place embedded, file place embedded like as I'm doing, and I select this image here. Alright, so I want to separate them. I select these two and I divide it into two, select the masking tool and have just this. Perfect. Once I achieve something like this, I scale this out by pressing Alt and scale it down. Once I have something like this, I can make it I can make a duplicate of it by once I have this, I can press Ctrl J to create a duplicate of it, press Ctrl T and change the positioning and bring it down like this. Perfect. So once I have all these here, I begin to type in some fonts here. So I type in wedding, and I change the fonts to Bicola display. A Bicola display. So for the wedding, I'm going to change from regular to italics and make it a bit bigger. And I wouldn't want it to be so plain like this. I mean all black like this. So I'm going to quickly go to FX, gradient overlay, and select this particular gradient. Yes, I have it already. So if you want to get this gradient, this is the hex code. For the first part, you can copy and paste this hex code. And the last part, you copy and paste this hex code as well. You can also play with the colors if you want to create variety. Thank you. So once I have something like this, to get it in the exact center, I select it, press Ctrl E and press this to get it in the exact center. So I know what I'm doing. So it boosts into these ones as well to make sure our work is properly aligned to the center. So with the wedding, I duplicate the second font and type in invitation. Perfect. To get this style, the T and I style, to click on this to get this style. So if you don't like it and you want the normal way, but I like to add a bit of style to it. And yes, here we go. So wedding invitation. Once you are done with this, go ahead to type in the names of the couple. So for the names of the couple, I type it here. All right. So I change the type of font to a Gutenberg bold, and I change the surname to. I highlight and change the surname to a lighter form of Gutenberg. So a Gutenberg book will do. Perfect. So once I achieve something like this, I bring down the space and make it a bit smaller like this. All right, so I have Obed here. I changed the color from this and I use my color picker to select this color. Or to get a darker shade, I bring it a bluer a bit and I get something like this. Perfect. So once I have this, I press Alt and I drag it down for the bright name as well. So I type her name. Just like I did for the first one. Just like I did for the first one, I'm going to highlight and change this part to Gotham regular. Gotham book, to a Gotham book font. Just this part, the first name should be book. Perfect. So once you have something like this, I go ahead to create small rectangles there. For the settings, we change the stroke to 0 and we change the fill to this shade of gradient that we work on initially. So we have this here and we continue to create the shape. Alright, once we have this, I go ahead to round the edges slightly and keying in my font here. And it's going to be in bottom as well. Resize it. Should be a bit smaller. Small enough to click into this. I can also slightly move it back. So I resize it and I change the color to white. Alright, so I can go ahead to resize it just for precision purposes. So once I'm done with it, I can bring this slightly higher, upper, and I achieve something like this. Alright, so once you have something like this, you're making some good progress. I go ahead to add the date as well. The date is going to be a duplicate of this same type of font, which is there. the Gola display italic. So I fold on Alt like I've been doing initially and I duplicate it. So I put in the date, that is the 11. But with this, I wouldn't like to have this gradient effect. So I deactivate it, change the color and have a darker shade of this color like so. Right. So I bring in the dates. Here like this. After I'm done, I create the same duplicate and type in the month December, comma and enter. So 2025. I close the spaces here like this, and I make it smaller like this to fit this part. So once I have something like this, I go ahead to create a duplicate of this date. I'm creating duplicate because I want to get the same font sizes so that it becomes beautiful. So I change the time to 12 o'clock p.m. Right. So once I have something like this, I like to change the colors a bit to something to the same shade, but something a bit darker like this. All right. So I copy this source code and I apply it to the once I've used earlier too. And for this as well. All right. So once I achieve something like this, I go ahead to create the squares I created initially for the works. What I use for the words. So something like this will be. So I quickly place it somewhere like this. I round the edges slightly. See, after this, I'm going to use a second one down here. So I create a duplicate already and I begin to type in what I like to type. So for the one on top is going to be the dates. For the dates, it should be in all caps and I change the fonts to Gotham fonts. So I change it from here. Gotham bold. Alright, it should be in all caps. And I press Ctrl T and I change the positioning like this. Maybe a bit of the spacing like this. And I resize it. And change the color twice. Dates. So once you are done with it, I press on Alt as I've been doing and I create a duplicate. Press Shift to make sure it's straight and I change this to time as well. Perfect. So once I achieve something, this progress, I'm going to duplicate just the shift. So press Ctrl J and I can move it. So once I move it, it's going to move the one on top. The next one remains. All right. So once I'm done moving it like this, I press Ctrl T to change the positioning like this and I make it a bit bigger. So for this, I'm going to type in the location. Because I'm going to use the same Gotham font, I can make a duplicate. Sorry. I can hold on Alt and create a duplicate of this. It's not coming on top before us, it's below. I can click it up here. And after I'm done creating the duplicate, I change it to location. I think it should be in caps. It should be in caps and perfect. So once I'm done typing the location, I introduce the location icon to place embedded file, place embedded, and you can find it in the links in description for the file I'll be providing. So once I have this, I select my eraser tool and it does the magic like this. Once I'm done, I resize it and I put it here to emphasize on the location rating. Perfect. So at this point, I like to add the location. For the location, I'm going to use this type of fonts, which is the one I used, Aventa semi-bold. So I type in, I bring here and I type in the location. So I type in the location. Once I'm done typing the location, I can resize it and position it somewhere like this. Position it somewhere like this. For the date and time, I feel it's too big for my liking. I select all of them and I resize them like this. Same as the squares, I can resize them 3. So to make sure the resizing is perfect, I'm going to resize both of them together so that the resizing becomes perfect. One doesn't become bigger than the other. Alright, so once I'm done with this, the location as well, I can think it slightly lower to make it of the same level. I'm going to change the color to this shade as well, just to make sure it's beautiful and everything is organized properly. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead to disable the stroke here, disable the fill and add black stroke and create something like a rectangle here. So in line to this, what I'm trying to achieve is I'm going to increase the stroke to 2 and round these edges slightly like this. After I'm done, I go ahead to add a masking. To this, the rectangle I just created. After I'm done, I introduce my brush to make sure it's black. The black is selected. If you don't have the black selected, you can simply press X or you can click on this icon to switch it to black. So I'm going to delete this part and delete this part as well. Perfect. So once I'm done with it, I'm going to go ahead to create a small ellipse here as well. Change the stroke to 0 and the fill to, I press Ctrl Z to undo it. So I'm going to create a new ellipse on top here. So I create the ellipse here and I go ahead to change it. Disable the stroke and the fill. Add some black fill here. Once I have something like this, I can go ahead, select this and position it somewhere like this. So once I've been able to achieve something like this, I go ahead to make some good progress and I make duplicates of the location I created, still holding Alt, and I create a duplicate here. I bring it here. I make it smaller because what I'm typing in here isn't going to be that much. So I type in here RSVP. Change it to all caps. And I bring it here. Alright. So once I'm done with this, I change the color to white. So I type in the number here, the number of the RSVP. In this case, I'm going to type in my number for tutorial purposes. So 0 G 67 9 1 9 1. Alright, I change it to black. So after I'm done, I make it small. and I also align it beautifully here like this. So it has to be a bit smaller. Alright. So once I'm done here, I create a duplicate and I add the name of the RSVP, but I'm going to use my name. So I alt and I change the name to myself. So Richard. Alright. So once we are done with this, we are going to create a duplicate of the RSVP. So I select both of this. I press on Alt, the arrow changes, and I drag it. So once I'm dragging it and I want it to be straight as the RSVP, I hold on Shift as well. Still holding on Alt, I hold on Shift. So it comes in line with it. So I bring it somewhere like this. Sorry. At least I bring it somewhere like this, and I'm going to increase the size of just the rectangle, because what I'm going to type in here is a bit more than the RSVP. So I'm going to type in here colors. Alright. So once I'm done, can make it a bit smaller like this and press enter. Once I'm done, I make a duplicate of this font as well as I did initially. Press it to align it perfectly and I type in the colors. So the colors will be white and violet. But I wouldn't like it to be all caps, so I disable the caps lock. I disable the caps here. Alright. So once I'm done typing the colors, I like to indicate the colors as well, so people who see it can tell right after they see it. So I'm going to create a rectangle, change it to white, and change the stroke to black. Perfect. So once I have something like this, I go ahead to create the rectangle here. So once I've done creating the rectangle, I get a square for the rectangle for the white. Still holding on Alt, I create a duplicate, Shift to align it perfectly. And with this, I'm going to disable the stroke and change the color to change the fill to this. That is the color of. So let me use the picker and delete this as well. Select this further. So this is the violet, the shade of violet to release it. Alright, so I have this, and at this point, everything is coming together perfectly. So what I'll be doing is, because it's all plain here, and I like to add one or two things to spice it up, which is optional, so you can choose whether or not to use it. I introduce an ellipse here and disable the stroke and enable this shade of gradient here. So I bring it here and I create something like this. Alright, so because I want it to be data, I go ahead to increase the stroke. So I go about somewhere like 140 and I see how big it is. Let's do 180. 180 is cool. So I position it somewhere like this just to create some style to it. So as I said, it's optional and leads whether or not you like it. You do it according to your preference. So once I have it here, I'm going to go ahead to bring in some subtle shades into the background as well. So this is what I'm going to do. I place an embedded and I select this image. So with this image, I'm going to go ahead to take on the first part, select the magic eraser tool and select the first part it's taking off. So I'll go ahead to bring this layer. The layer just imported as low as where the background is. So I drag it down. Yes, so be behind editor. And I'm going to go ahead to change the color, the gradient. So I press FX and gradient overlay. I change the gradient overlay to what I've been using all along, this shade of gradient. And I don't want it to be competing with the project, so I take down the opacity to as low as 40. Alright, so once I'm able to achieve something like this, I can maybe duplicate it to make it understand. In duplicating it, what I did was I simply held on the Alt and I dragged it and I got the duplicate of what they are working with now. So they have something like this. And after here, I'm going to go ahead to add. It's still competing with the points for me. So I'm going to pick down the opacity a bit more. So still see it when is. Alright. So once I'm done with it, I'm going to add flowers to make it more of the wedding-like project. So this is the flowers which is in the link in the description in below. Once I have it, it's a PNG file, so we don't need to bother about taking out SSs and all that. Once you import it, you can end it. So I create a duplicate and I put it here as well. Yes, this is how I achieved a wedding flyer in Photoshop. If this was insightful and educative to you, kindly like, leave a subscription, and leave a comment, and let's keep going. Thank you for having me. This is Richard from Habishin Graphics. I'm out.